Now, a sane person might just not shove 7 or 8 land destruction spells into a deck and call it a day. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and we have been given quite the challenge today from Edison. That is to build a Boros Land Destruction deck in Legacy. And the idea was to take advantage of 2 cards. Rack the Earth, which makes each player sacrifice a permanent of their choice, and if you play it very early on in the game, that just means one of your opponent's lands. And Boom Bust. For 2 mana, we destroy a land we control, and a land we don't control, and if we get to 6 mana, it is an Armageddon. Don't worry, we've got actual factual Armageddon in the sideboard, you know, like just in case we need it, you know, just in case, as a precaution. Necessary precaution against lands. Now, we are going to have some ways to cheat these cards. We can blow up our flagstones and then just fetch out another land, which is fantastic, or we can do something like target our fetch land and our opponent's land, and then in response we fetch and we still have a valid target, so we're good to go. We can, of course, make these uncounterable via Voice of Victory, and we also just have some permanents that are going to produce tokens that we super don't care about, further helping us break the sort of symmetricalness of Crack the Earth. And who doesn't like the idea of cascading into land destruction? Back in my day, you used to be able to cascade into bust. But after a handful of rules changes, you don't really get to do that stuff anymore. Although I still think there's 1 or 2 ways out there for you to cheat the cost on Valky and just get the expensive side. Sideboard's pretty unexciting here. The sideways card is Wear Tear. I'm not sure whether or not this is better than Sheltered by Ghosts, which is the last thing that I was kind of going back and forth about. Sheltered by Ghosts can have the card come back later, but is very aggressive, and the lifelink is sometimes relevant. But this is just a 1-mana answer to things like Up the Beanstalk and Leyline Binding, which sounds good to me. Having my cards in this deck be cheap is going to be pretty important. You'll notice that there's not like 3-drops in this deck. There's nothing like Broadside or Fable of the Mirror Breaker rounding out the top end of this curve. This is low to the ground with a slightly higher than average land count, so that we don't care if we blow up some of our own lands. So this is going to be a fun league, and we'll see if we can put up, you know, a 3-2 or something like that. That would be pretty cool. So yesterday, I started replaying Final Fantasy X. They got me. They got me. And it is making me nostalgic, and I want to buy some of these Final Fantasy cards. And I will be buying them from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. They're great, they have awesome customer service, they've fulfilled some of my special requests even in hunting down some rare cards for me, and I very much appreciate that. Promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order with them, and you always get free online shipping as well. With that being said, let's battle. Okay, I am in for this. I think I'm going to do tapped Elegant Parlor on 1 rather than Guide of Souls immediately. I don't think I want another Swords to Plowshares here. I recognize this name. I think they play like Cloud Coast type stuff, if memory serves. They don't even have a goddamn permanent. Not 1 fucking permanent for me to touch with Crack the Earth. God damn it. I'm upset. Hate this fucking deck. Get it out of my goddamn format. There is a Dark Ritual. That is a 4th mana, meaning my Swords to Plowshares is not going to interrupt that anymore, which I... Oh, cool. So my opponent mills their entire deck, and a Swords to Plowshares most certainly is not going to be enough to disrupt this. I'm just going to take a look at their deck and then concede. There's Dread Return. Thassa's Oracle is in their hand, presumably then. There's Poxwalkers here and a Bridge from Below here, so swordsing a creature does not actually interrupt this. Cool. That was fun. We all enjoyed that, right? Now we get to enjoy the play pattern of Mulligan to Leyline of the Void. That's great. Goblin Bombardment doesn't matter here. Lightning Bolts don't really matter here. Swords to Plowshares also not super relevant, but I might need them for a sideboard juke. Wear Tear is pretty mid. Boom Bust also not great. Like, go down some of these or something. This doesn't have Leyline of the Void, so I mulligan. This doesn't have Leyline of the Void, so I mulligan. This doesn't have Leyline of the Void, so I could keep this and hope that a turn 2 Stony Silence is relevant. I don't think that's acceptable. Now we are on 4. And I have a 4-card hand that either looks something like this, or maybe I keep Amped Raptor. No. Go to 3. Still haven't seen a Leyline. 2. 1, I guess. I'm not winning on that. Cool. This is not going to win the game. But none of my other hands were going to either. So here we go. 17. Dark Ritual. Creature. This will just kill me. I did top deck a land. That is fantastic. We have some capacity to play Magic from here. Again, though, fully do not expect to win. Cool. Fuck this deck. Get it out of my format. I cannot say it enough times. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. I have an opening hand here that has 1 tapped land. I really want 2 lands in my opener, especially if I'm going to do anything that ends up destroying my own lands. This one is fine. I think I'm going to get rid of... a land here, but like, this is a spell. I'm going to get rid of the swords. Verdant Catacombs into a Thoughtseize. I imagine that my opponent will probably break up Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, and I am correct. I think my immediate play is to Wasteland my opponent here, and I'm in. What if they just pass the turn with no land? That'd be nice. And I get to just have a little cat parade all by myself. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. We've got the combo. And we know our opponent doesn't have any lands. The tragedy here is that my opponent might just be a combo deck that kills us. Maybe not this time, though. Looks like we've got Doomsday vibes here. No land. No land. Alright. So I guess I'll play an Amped Raptor here. Yeah, that is some good value. We've got cats. Ooh, now if I cast Crack the Earth, I can sacrifice a cat and get my Planeswalker. And that ability can go to the Dome, which is quite strong. I think we already just beat a past the turn Doomsday line, too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. Yeah. I think this is just death. So send it. Opponent's at 9. I will play Voice of Victory. And that's enough for the concession from my opponent. Opponent could still be something like a Storm deck. We're probably going to sideboard approximately the same way for either. A lot of the cards that we have aren't really great here, and that's kind of one of the strengths of Doomsday, is that a lot of common cards don't really touch the important parts of the deck. Sort of annoyingly, I might need to respect Goyfs out of the sideboard. This makes rituals worse. Doesn't stop a lot of Doomsday lines that just involve Street Wraiths and stuff, though. Stony Silence can help out with Artifact Mana, Tameo Clues, occasionally something like the One Ring. And these can, like, technically counter Tameos or Ponders, Preordains, things like Consider, the Oracle itself, technically. I think I'm going to go Bolt Out, and then probably Goblin Bombardment and Boom Bust are some of our weaker things. I think I like Boom Bust on the play, but not really on the draw. I think on the draw, the Goblin Bombardment is better. It's just finishing power. Maybe that's not true. Once I 100% confirm what my opponent is doing, we can adjust if we go to a game 3. Okay, this opening hand does not have functional mana. It just needs to go. This is quite strong. So these 5 cards are the core of this hand. I'm going to be keeping this. I think I will just get rid of Amped Raptor here and have the possibility of blowing up 2 lands while hopefully also sticking something that is a little bit of a hurdle for my opponent. It is Storm, in which case this is awesome, and 2 land destruction spells afterwards will be pretty good as well. Alright, sure. Are you going off on 1? Maybe. The last card has to be an Echo, in which case it doesn't actually make sense to Thoughtseize. Why did I do that? I was supposed to just Wasteland. That was dumb. Oh well, we'll live with it. I'm just gonna Ocelot Pride here, rather than Guide of Souls. Is a Brainstorm. Yet another LED. And it is an Echo. So I leave my opponent with a red mana that they should not have had. We'll see if that ends up becoming relevant. Opal. Another LED. A new Brainstorm. Stony Silence is very, very strong if I get a turn. Another land. 5 mana for a Song of Creation with 1 floating. And now every time my opponent casts a spell, they draw 2 cards. So they are probably going to be able to just chain mana together here. And they did a smart thing. With their Chrome Mox on the stack still, they cast a Dark Ritual in response to potentially change the card that was imprinted. Thoughtseize under there. This is now at Lethal Tendrils range, and I am dead. The 1 mana was relevant. There was a floating mana, but it was a floating black mana. Okay, so I have some other things that I can do now that I know this information. So now that I know this is Storm specifically, these swords aren't very good. The Wear Tears become more relevant. I can choose to play Leyline of the Void to help out with the Lion's Eye Diamond Echo of Eon lines, and potentially some Beseech the Mirror lines as well. So I will probably go ahead and do that. Crack the Earth and Goblin Bombardment are both kind of mid. I think I am going to keep Crack the Earth. Just trading permanent for permanent with my opponent is probably good. Yes. Deafening Silence is great here. Wasteland is great. Double Ocelot Pride is great. This is just absolutely exactly what I want to be seeing. Fetch land from my opponent. Ooh, shit. Okay. Threats can come later. We're doing that now. So now you get 1 spell and you don't get to use artifact mana. So rituals are off and artifact mana isn't good either. I think that's pretty close to lights out, unless my opponent is green enough to be playing something that answers 2 enchantments at the same time. There will be some sort of Boseiju, Abrupt Decay, Bounce a Thing, Gift a Fish card that can answer these. Answering both while also addressing Wasteland, that's a big ask. We've got another land. Pretty sure, just above all else, I deny my opponent mana here because it makes these cards better. We'll go to a different phase. We're getting something. I got Abrupt Decay on Deafening Silence. Sure. I think I am going to stick my threat and then hold up Pyroblast the following turn. If I had another land, I would just hold up Pyroblast now, I think. But holding up Pyroblast is less important if I have a Stony Silence in play, because it means that Echo of Eons isn't doing its thing. Does that in fact mean that I'd play the second Ocelot Pride? That massively increases my clock. Okay, I've talked myself into that. And make cats and more cats. But now I don't think I would tap out for Amped Raptor. Mox Opal. And that was purely just so my opponent would not discard. Take that out. Launch. Will be 4 damage. And then Ocelot Pride does its thing. Other Ocelot Pride does its thing. We're not quite to the City's Blessing, but we're close. I've got 8, which means I will get there next turn. Yeah, opponent is just avoiding discarding to hand size now. Send it. Opponent is at 8. Make a cat. Make a cat with the City's Blessing and copy it. Lotus Petal. Hey, Metalcraft is on. That's good, right? Chrome Mox afterwards. imprint, and a concession. Good sideboard cards are good. GG's. Okay, I am keeping my opening hand here with the possibility of lightning bolting an initial creature from my opponent. Otherwise, I can do a Surveil land. Thoughtseize is totally fine here. I would like to find another land with this Surveil land that I am about to get. That makes me so much more confident in Wastelanding. Hey, it's another land. I'm totally good with this trade here. We'll just kind of see how this plays out. My opponent took a pretty fair card. That might mean that we are facing down a control or mid-range deck. A combo deck probably doesn't care about Ajani a ton. If my opponent has a removal spell such as a Fatal Push or Lightning Bolt, this is my best line because my opponent does not get to use the mana on my turn specifically. If we are about to just see end of turn Entomb though, then Crack the Earth was a stronger line. But I am kind of into, on my turn, play Guide of Souls, attack, get some energy, and then sacrifice a token so that the Crack the Earth doesn't actually hurt me. There is a fetch land. Do I still get to have my Voice of Victory for my turn? That would be super swell and would make me happy. I still get my Voice of Victory, and I get one of Crack the Earth or Guide of Souls, so I think that's fine overall. Okay. Guide of Souls. Go to Punchies. Send them. We want to... Excuse me. We want to put the Guide of Souls trigger on bottom, just as good habit, so that we make the energy before this ability resolves. Opponent is at 11. I could double Lightning Bolt uncounterably right now. I don't think it is correct to do so. Like, there's a very good chance that my opponent could play out, like, a Goyf or something that I would need to interact with via these Lightning Bolts. And if my opponent were to, say, make a 6/6, I can mess with that via Lightning Bolt. Okay, if you're just going to pass the turn here, I am fine going to my turn and then Lightning Bolting Tamiyo on my turn. Because this is... Hold on, is this worth more than Lightning Bolt to face? This is fine. I'm going to create one 3-power creature, which Tamiyo would presumably block. Guide of Souls trigger. We're up to 3 energy, and our opponent concedes. This is a pretty ambiguous opener. Like, our opponent could very easily be tempo, combo, or mid-range control. I think that means I probably just don't sideboard very much here. Like, I just play probably generically good Pyroblasts and then don't touch the rest of this stuff until I get more information. My weak cards here. Goblin Bombardment. Maybe like Bam and Bam? I would really like another land. I think I'm going to believe, though. I just have 2 removal spells and a threat on 1 mana, and then something interesting for if I do hit the second land drop. I am going to use this as a Surveil land and just take the tempo hit. I think I just want to guarantee this land drop unless something very scary goes on the stack. Fuck. Okay. That is an Archon of Cruelty, which I can, in theory, answer with Swords to Plowshares. That is happening. I think I am not going to remove this immediately. I think I'm going to let my opponent draw an extra card. And I'm just going to try to surveil for a land so that I can Swords to Plowshares with Red Elemental Blast backup or Swords to Plowshares around a daze. Surveil time. Oh god, don't stifle me. My poor heart cannot take it if you have Stifle. Pyroblast is not what I am looking for. I need a land. It is a land. Hot damn. I will do this fight on my turn right now so that if I win this fight with 1 card, I don't respond to that because if my opponent has a daze in hand that this is currently beating, I don't want to turn that on. Hot damn. Ocelot Pride it is. If we beat Reanimator without these, that would be cool. Bowmasters is happening. Would have liked that better if that happened just a touch later. Interesting. I'm in for this, and I'm passing. Oh no, it's another Entomb. Sure. And they've got it. Atraxa trigger. Um, this is not the end, but this is pretty damn bad. I think that Goyf is the thing that ends up beating me. I think I probably end up removing the Atraxa with Red Elemental Blast. Oh wow, my opponent did not take what I thought was like very easily the best. Ponder, Force of Will, Tameo, Ancient Tomb. They just had it in hand too. Yeah. Okay. Don't try Crack the Earth being good. My opponent just has too many fucking cards. So I could Red Elemental Blast Atraxa, that gets Force of Willed. I don't think my Lightning Bolt gets Force of Willed. I'm gonna tap out here. I need these ley lines now. What did I board in before? Red Elemental Blasts. I still like those. I still like Crack the Earth, but I need to make some room. I think that means Boom Bust is going. Crack the Earth just has some synergy with the deck with things like Ajani, making it pretty reasonable. Go down some bolts? Go down some bolts. Swords hit more things. I've got Pyroblasts, meaning that I still have a decent number of answers to Tameo. This is a perfectly fine opening hand that does not stop the combo. I am fine playing versus fair stuff. This hand is fine. Like, Flagstone's Crack the Earth is super good as a starting opening sequence. Voice of Victory is here as well. We'll just see how this plays out. I don't really care about Thoughtseize. That's one of the really nice things about this opening hand. I think I am going to always deny the mana here. I don't get to Crack the Earth since I have Flagstones, but I still get to make a cat. And so I think I am okay with that. My opponent just takes that hit. Yeah, my opponent took that hit. It seems like a pretty free block. Like, I don't know what you would be playing around for single white. Tameo investigates. Then we've got the Brainstorm, which is annoying because Tameo is going to go up to 4 loyalty. 4 loyalty after that plus. Oh, that's very good. I think I am willing to go for Voice of Victory this turn. Fetch, grab a Lato. I think I'm just trying to make this uncounterable. It's awkward if I wait and this gets Thoughtseized. Cool. No point in attacking into the Tameo Plus here, meaning I am not making cats. Now my opponent could still just Fatal Push Voice of Victory and make my stuff counterable again. Oh, I get punished. I lose Pyroblast. And Crack the Earth is not great with that clue token floating there. Amped Raptor, however, is probably pretty hot. I think I'm going to preemptively do this. Throw down Amped Raptor. We know that it's going to resolve. Leyline of the Void. No. Actually, I'm going to Crack the Earth here. No, I guess a discard spell on this Lightning Bolt is pretty bad. Okay. So I can go ahead and attack Tameo here. This Tameo trigger resolves. And then I can put in these Voice of Victory tokens, attacking Tameo. Tameo goes down to 1 loyalty. And this is a way that you can kind of get in with smaller creatures versus Tameo. Brainstorm, pretty good. Tameo pluses, and it is a new Tameo. Well, I'm thinking about whether or not I am using these pre or post combat. I think pre, even though the Voice of Victory synergy is nice. Let us Crack the Earth. This first one gets rid of my opponent's clue token. I will sacrifice this Flagstone. I will use this ability to Elegant Parlor. Guide of Souls is fine. Now let's make our opponent think. I will just sacrifice a land here. The opponent gets rid of the Planeswalker. I can send with these. There is still the Tameo trigger here, but I'll still get in 2 points of damage, which is fine. I don't love how light on resources I am right now, but I am going to have Ocelot Pride plus Guide of Souls, and maybe none of that matters. Archon of Cruelty in the graveyard now. Cool. Cat token can go away. Now this Guide of Souls that is on top of my deck is just not what I need anymore. Alright. You get your clue. And there's more. Oh, it's the Planeswalker too. That's not great for me. So I will play Guide of Souls, go to combat. This is not doing any damage, it doesn't matter where it goes. This is going to deal 1 damage, like that 1 damage at Tameo. I am doing this purely for the energy and Ocelot Pride triggers. 1 damage at Tameo means that opponent can rebuy something from graveyard. I think these are going base. Just always yield to these energy generating abilities. What if I bump this? What if I bump that? Or what if I bump a token? What if I bump a token? It's a little awkward. Leave my opponent with some weird choices. I won't so much care about the Archon attack trigger. If I can make some cats. Okay, they are going to go for the Voice of Victory. If I thought this through a little bit more, I could have taken out the Tameo. Ocelot Pride trigger. Do not have the City's Blessing. Yeah, I think it was correct to not do the damage and finish the Tameo. I should have thought that through more. Sack the cat. I think the big problem here, even if I kill the Tameo, is that my opponent still just has 6 cards in hand. So I think as soon as they have like a Goyf or equivalent as a follow-up, I'm going to die anyway. But I'm not happy with how I played that. Eldred's Edict. I guess Amped Raptor goes. I don't think it matters much. Yeah, so I had a slightly better line here. Don't know that I end up winning still, but I had a better line that I should have taken. GG. Okay. My opening hand is fine. My opponent's on 6 cards. We are probably not going to win this game 1, would be my guess. I have a powerful thing going on here, and another powerful thing. But I don't have land destruction in this specific hand, which is probably what I need. Like, land destruction followed up by Stony Silence is conceptually what I want to be doing in this matchup. There's a Mox Opal. We are very close to Metalcraft. We're not quite there yet. Objectively speaking, Voice of Victory is probably going to be the better play here in a vacuum. I'll deal a whopping 1 to my opponent. And this is the turn they probably catapult forward to 4 mana. It wasn't. That's real good for me. That means that I can do this. And I can do this. And now that whole Guide of Souls, Voice of Victory, trigger stacking thing matters as I get more energy. I'm going to say yes to this. We'll make somebody fly. This is a huge chunk of damage. Ocelot Pride trigger. We're not quite to the City's Blessing. Feels like I probably just kill my opponent next turn if they don't hit a land drop. So Metalcraft is live, but my opponent lost an Urza land, which is a big deal. Alright. Bolt you with my mana. Yes. Guide of Souls trigger. Fetch. Plateau. I don't care about showing my opponent this. This is not exciting tech or anything. Send with everybody, and my opponent is dead multiple different ways there. We didn't skillfully navigate that one. My opponent just didn't do anything. They kept that on a 6. I think that degree of mana is totally keepable on a 6-card hand. I don't fault them for that. Bam. 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 Saucy? So this is the stuff that I am thinking about. The land destruction is great. I probably keep lightning bolts, get rid of swords. I probably get rid of goblin bombardment. Now can I justify the Armageddon? Because I am sitting here at 62. I do think this is my weakest card. I might play it when I am on the play if we go to a game 3. I think just Armageddon on the draw does not line up well against what my opponent is doing. This is a weird one. So I have Crack the Earth and the ability to cast it. I don't get the flagstones down first. And my opponent could just like drop artifacts that they can sacrifice instead. I think I am still going to keep this one. But this ends up being a Surveil land on 1 into Crack the Earth on 2 and hope that it's good. if it's not good, I end up just like Amped Raptor, hope to hit something like Stony Silence on turn 2 instead, and that's like not crazy person talk. Workshop. Battle. Again, that sort of stuff makes Crack the Earth worse. Monolith. Oh, we're still going. E. So my opponent can now untap the Monolith. And they are at 4 mana this turn for Karn or whatever. Mystic Forge. That means my Crack the Earths are just like not good anymore. That's very unfortunate. Okay. We are probably going into Amped Raptor, hope for the best here. That's not great for me. Urza's Saga as well. That is an Urza's land for Urza's Workshop purposes. My opponent still just has a gajillion mana. That's not good. This is a horrific combo. I will respond to that with Lightning Bolt as soon as I get priority. Okay, that's a slight lie since my opponent just passed with all their mana available. I do think maybe hitting Stony Silence is so incredibly important that I still Elegant Parlor for it here. I'm going to buy that. I'm going to say no to that. It is Ajani. So, do I want to let my opponent untap with Glaring Fleshraker, or do I want to try to high roll here? I can high roll into Stony Silence. I can high roll into a Lightning Bolt effect. A Boom Bust is okay. I think I'm just going to lose to Fair Urza's Saga if I don't high roll. So I am taking a risky line. That's very good. Saga or Mystic Forge. I don't get to fuse it here. I think Mystic Forge. Oop, I clicked on the wrong one. I want Where on Mystic Forge. Urza's Saga is less scary without Mystic Forge. Glaring Fleshraker is less scary without Mystic Forge. That's... Ooh, no Metalcraft. Nice. That's a boon. The Grim Monolith is still a lot of mana, though. Oh, no. That is quite bad. But now opponent is out of gas, so they can use the other spawn. No, they're not doing it. They're not using it to make a construct token. Okay, honestly, this could have gotten... Oh. Wow. Okay. Land enters tapped, right? Yeah. Okay. Then we are just going to boom my Flagstones and your Urza's Saga. And then I will pick up a Plateau for next turn. And then hopefully I can just start picking off Glaring Fleshrakers. I will value saving 4 life by not attacking here. So now we just need to dodge. We just need to dodge for a turn. And I think... No. Okay. I'm going to count that as a dodge. Like, there's still a lot of damage attached to the casting of that spell. And it does mean that my Crack the Earths are worse. But I am going to get rid of the Glaring Fleshrakers on my turn. So I Lightning Bolt 1, play Ajani, make a cat, crack the earth, sacrifice my cat, you sacrifice a spawn, transform Ajani, get Planeswalker, use Planeswalker to make a cat, I control 2 creatures, kill Glaring Fleshraker. Holy shit. What a turnaround. I am very happy with how I played this one, but we did get incredibly lucky to end up in this situation. I cannot lie here. Oh, wow, and an Amped Raptor on top of everything else. Yes, absolutely start there. Lightning Bolt is fine. I'll send that at face. I imagine that I'm just going to end up casting Crack the Earth. So 0 this, damage to face, send in for 4. Opponent is at 8, then 6. I will still cast Crack the Earth. I will sacrifice my Flagstones. I'll get rid of your Eldrazi spawn. It denies a mana, so it's a fine play. Pass. I have lethal on board with an Ajani and a Wasteland backing it up. Wow. That was crazy. So our land destruction stuff was critical to that win. I was talking about how scared I was to dying to that Urza Saga, and then we drew Boom. We dodged some of the worst possible things happening to us, like we dodged something like a One Ring or a Mystic Forge coming down to replace the other one. And then the Earths let us transform Ajani, kill another Glaring Fleshraker. That was awesome, honestly. GG. All right. We are already at the final round. We got Clown Down in round 1 by Oops All Spells. Ancient Tomb Gamer. A Chalice of the Void is a little annoying here, but I do have 2 land destruction cards, so maybe I could keep my opponent from doing their follow-up play. Might be something like a green-red initiative deck. There's an Elvish Spirit Guide. Yep. That's rough. This has Vigilance, so my Ocelot Pride can't take the initiative back. I have Swords to Plowshares I can draw towards. I guess that's what I am going to have to do. If I draw Swords and play Ocelot Pride on 1, I can maybe take back the initiative. But there is also an argument that playing Arid Mesa instead and using the Surveil land to get more looks at Swords is a better line. I get punched for 5 here. And my opponent could just use it as a mana dork in second main phase to play out another big scary thing. I think we got run over. Oh, they're just gonna kill my Ocelot Pride immediately. That is, I think, perfectly reasonable. Because my opponent can just get another one on their turn. So I am effectively at 10 life being attacked for 9. Even if I draw a Swords next turn, I think the other one of these things beats me. I don't really have a sideboard for this matchup. I could Wear Tear. It will sometimes do stuff, but it doesn't answer the problematic creatures. So I think I'm going to just run this back. And I think the games that I win are the games where my opponent does not play a creature on turn 1, because then my land destruction stuff actually is relevant. It is a medium hand that I am willing to keep because I can answer 1 to 2 creatures while threatening the initiative. Again, though, if my opponent just plays a turn 1 creature, this is very, very scary for us. Prismatic Vista. Even if I had a land destruction spell, I would not get to do it here. I'm going to intend on Surveil landing in this turn, where I make my cat. Well, I mean, my opponent will do their turn, you know. City of Traders. Spirit Guide. Undermountain Adventurer. That is one that I will have to Swords. I can't Lightning Bolt that. Unless I could Lightning Bolt that. I could try to have my cake and eat it 2 here. Oh, that's such a kick in the teeth. Then now I lose my creatures. I don't threaten the initiative. And now I can't try to do my cool trick of 1 first strike damage and lightning bolt the creature afterwards. Ugh. Surveil land. That goes to graveyard. I'm going to hold Swords and try to get my opponent when they do Forge. Yeah, I think I need to try to extract that little bit of extra value here. Alright, cool. So I will take out that creature now before it gets the counters. Blank the Forge. Trap is still coming. My opponent still has the initiative. A bunch of the creatures that they play can still live through Lightning Bolt. That one doesn't, though. I will get trapped immediately. I'll be at 15. This is, in theory, fine. It becomes better if I draw a cool follow-up play here. That's okay another turn or so down the line. I guess it depends on whether or not my opponent has another land that gets to follow this up. I'll take a Plains. Already made my land drop for the turn, so that's that. Oh, there's white in there too. Well, hate that for me. Another Swords? That's actually fine. Send them. I'm just gonna go wide of this. I'm so glad that my opponent blocked. So that this is guaranteed uncounterable and no nonsense happens, I am going to go ahead and just lightning bolt that now. This damage goes through. I will go to the Lost Well. I think I am looking for bodies. Now, we are going to boom. I will target my fetch land, and this one hits manipulation, but my opponent might require red for hard casting some things like Fury. I think I will go their mountain. Go 1, and 2. Fetch with Arid Mesa in response. Pick up a plateau. Boom that mountain. I have the initiative. Opponent did have another mountain. Fuck! Are you just gonna play another fucking initiative creature? I mean, obviously that is what your deck is designed to do, but I was hoping to get a little breathing room. Oh, that's really good. That, yeah. Yeah. Ocelot Pride, you're great. But my opponent has completed a dungeon, meaning that when they attack, they can just cast that card for free, in addition to just having a gajillion depower in play and Forge coming. We got our butt absolutely kicked in that last round. My opponent's deck was cool. I'm sure the mana is very, very sketchy there, but that was quite strong. Well, that was a really fast league. That was fun, though. Minus round 1. Fuck oops all spells. We're done with that. Let's fast forward to the end of June where we eat that shit from this format. Other than that, overall thoughts on the deck list. Pretty darn good, honestly. Every card in the main deck pulled its weight today, including the Boom Busts and Crack the Earths. A lot of times when I am given challenges like this one, it is my hope that I build a solid deck that can win despite the crazy cards that I've been asked to play with. But both Crack the Earth and Boom Bust, did solid work today. Sometimes the mana's not perfect, like you play a Flagstones on one and you're like, oh, if only this also cast Crack the Earth, but I think that's fine overall. The Voice of Victory synergy with Crack the Earth was really cool. I was very, very happy with that. Same with the Ajani synergy as well. We never got to bust levels of mana. I think in the entire league, games were decided in one direction or another prior to reaching 6 mana. If we had played against some slower stuff like Beans, Armageddons maybe would have been justifiable, but certainly would have been fun. I'm gonna give this one a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed most of this league, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day as well. See ya!